Which should you pay off first, a credit card or overdrafts? She asked me this question in relation to the fact that, once upon a time, she sort of struggled in this area and she wasn't sure which to pay off, whether her overdraft or her credit cards. And to be honest, my simple answer is, hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So last week I started a new series about why you're unable to save. So basically I'm taking it right back to basics and talking to you guys about why you're unable to save if this is a problem that you currently face. Okay, so last week I started off talking about overdrafts, which is one major reason why people are unable to save and they don't even realize it. And today I'm going to move on to credit cards and credit in general. So first of all, what is credit? Well, credit is basically the ability to borrow money from a credit card company, for example, on the premise that you're going to pay them back. So for example, you'd use your credit card to maybe buy a new TV this month, knowing that you're going to pay the credit card company back the money that you've borrowed to pay for it at one point in time. Now, by that definition alone of what credit is, we can already see that that is a form of debt, okay? And what is debt? Debt is a lump sum of money that you owe somebody, whether it's an organization, a credit card company, or other, okay? It's money that you have to pay back. And as we've already established last week, we know that once you're in debt, it's very hard for you to build up good saving habits or even be able to save in the first place. So now, what exactly is the direct link between credit and your inability to save? Well, first of all, like overdraft, credit is a debt if not paid off in full each month, okay? That means if you don't pay off the full balance of your credit card each month, you're essentially living in debt because you have this outstanding payment due that you need to pay the company back. I mean, just looking at it like that, if you've got a credit card that you haven't been able to pay off, what's the likelihood that you're going to be able to save any money until you've cleared that credit card debt? Because ultimately, the reason why you haven't been able to clear that balance and pay off your full credit card balance is because you don't have the money to do so. Therefore, you're obviously not going to have any money to be able to save. Another link between using credit and your inability to save is simply because when you're using a credit card to pay for things, you're basically using it as a way to live beyond your means, okay? You're trying to buy things now that you know that you cannot afford, but because you want them so much, you're going ahead to use a credit card to pay for them. If you're living beyond your means in that way and spending more than you earn, in what way are you going to be able to save? You definitely do not have a saving mentality. And finally, another crucial reason why you're unable to save if living off credit is because it's a vicious cycle, okay? Until you pay off that credit card debt or the full balance, you're constantly owing. And so again, how are you going to be able to save? Okay, so now that we've covered an element of the disadvantages of using a credit card, I just want to say that using a credit card is not bad altogether, okay? There are certain advantages and good things that come out of using a credit card. And I'm just going to briefly talk through some of those things just to give you an idea of how you can use a credit card responsibly and to your benefit if you go ahead to use one or do actually currently have one but do not know how to best manage it. So the first good thing about credit cards and having one is the ability to be able to pay for emergency or necessity things, at the last minute. The only thing I'd advise is that whenever you use a credit card, you want to pay off the full balance each month. I know a lot of credit card issuers and, people in general will just advise that you make, the minimum payments each month, but that is not enough, okay? I advise that you always try and clear the full balance each and every month. Another good reason for using credit cards is the fact that you get much better protection against fraud than with debit cards. And that is because with credit cards, your money is not taken out straight away. Normally there's a buffer of a couple of days. Whereas with a debit card, when you make payments, the money is almost taken out straight away. And so if anything bad happens and somebody's used your card to commit fraud, it's a lot harder to get that money back via a debit card than via a credit card. Another good thing about using credit cards, they help to build up your credit score and your credit history. So a lot of people think that by not having a credit card in general or not using any credit, they naturally have a good credit score. But that is not the case, okay? This only happens if you're somebody that has a credit card but manages to keep up the payments each and every month. Again, that is by clearing the full balance each month, not just paying the bare minimum. The reason why it's so important to clear your full balance each and every month is because that is what shows people that you are good for the money. That is what shows that you're good at keeping up with payments. That when you borrow money, you pay it back on time, okay? It shows that you are credible and responsible, and that is what will lead to you having a better credit score in general. Another good thing about credit cards is the ability to earn rewards, points, cashback, and things like that. So for example, when you go into your food shop, you may be able to claim some money back, some cashback, or points that you can redeem towards future purchases. Finally, in line with the rewards that you can get from credit cards, you can also earn air miles via airline cards like, British Airways or Virgin. Okay, so when you spend with them on their credit cards, you're able to get some air miles, which you can then use for flights in future. I will just say, however, that in order to gain all the good benefits of having a credit card and to keep away from the problems that may arise from having a credit card, you want to make sure that you clear your full balance each and every month, okay? Make sure you set up a direct debit if you need to. Just make sure there's nothing outstanding on that credit card each month. So now that we've spoken about the good, it's only natural that we speak about the bad. And generally, the bad associated with having a credit card is the inability to control your spending. Having a credit card a lot of the time does not encourage good spending habits or discipline, okay? You sort of want to give yourself that instant gratification all the time. You see something, you like it, you want to buy it now. Not really thinking about, maybe whether you can really afford it or whether it's something that you do need to purchase at this point in time. Credit cards can encourage us to buy things that we don't need and therefore build up bad money and financial habits. So at this point, I'm sure we've all got a good understanding of what credit is and, some of the benefits that we can gain from using a credit card responsibly, as well as some of the bad things that can happen if we do not use them, the way they're supposed to be used. So now I just want to dig a little deeper in some of the other negatives associated with using a credit card outside of, the inability to save. Again, I'm just going to call out that a lot of these negatives, if not all of them, are associated with you not maintaining your monthly payments, okay? So that is not clearing the full balance of your credit card each and every month. So the first negative associated with not using your credit card properly is the fact that you're building up a bad debt for yourself, okay? The longer that you have a balance remaining on your credit card, the more debt that you're building up and the more interest that you're going to have to pay overall, okay? You do not want to be paying huge amounts of interest on purchases that you've made months or even, over a year ago. It's just not worth it. You're just throwing money down the drain. Do you really want that for yourself? I don't think so, especially if you can help it, and especially if it's on purchases that you don't really need and therefore you can cut out all completely. Number 2, using your credit card irresponsibly reflects badly on your credit report and your credit history, okay? As I mentioned earlier, when you have a credit card, what you want to do is pay it off each and every month, okay? That is what shows creditors and people that you may potentially need to get a loan from in future that you are worth, the money. You are somebody that is responsible and someone that they can trust to, pay back any money that they borrow you. And so on the other hand, if you're somebody that has a credit card and you're not maintaining your monthly payments, it shows that you're not the greatest or the most responsible with money, and therefore that is what's going to reflect on your credit history, okay? That is what is going to show on your credit score. It's going to show that you're somebody that borrows money and does not pay it back or does not pay it back in time. Another negative is that you may have high interest rates over time, and also your APRs, which is your annual percentage rate, will increase over time as well, especially if there's a balance that continues to remain on your credit card. So for example, if you're somebody that bought something on your credit card 6 months ago and yet that still has not been paid off, the interest that you're going to be paying is going to be a lot higher, and your annual percentage rate is also likely to increase for that reason, because it just shows that you're not the best with paying money back, and therefore naturally you're going to get charged for that. Another negative that may arise from using your credit card irresponsibly is the fact that if you build up a bad credit score or have a bad credit report, the likelihood is that when you then go on to apply for, bigger finance or loans, for example, a mortgage or car finance, you may be denied because, again, your report is reflecting that you're somebody that is not good with money and that you're somebody that's not able to keep up with payments. And last but not least, your insurance rates and premiums may be a lot higher just because, once again, if you manage to get a bad credit score or bad credit report based on the fact that you haven't been able to keep up with your payments or your credit cards, insurance companies are not going to give you their best deals. They're going to charge you a premium because they see you as somebody that is irresponsible. So now, having gone through all those disadvantages of using your credit card irresponsibly, hopefully you can see the importance of managing your credit properly if you do go on to apply for any credit in future, or if you do currently already have a credit card. If, however, you're somebody that already has a credit card and have built up some bad habits along the way, and maybe you're owing quite a large sum or it's starting to affect your credit score badly, I've got some tips that you can implement to better your situation. First of all, you need to make sure that you budget and reduce your monthly spend, okay? Look at all the money that you have coming in and look at all your expenses. After all your monthly expenses or essentials have been paid off, you need to look at what remains and see how you can use that towards paying off your credit card balance. At this point, you just need to live on a tighter budget. That is, only spending money on your necessities, the things that you need to live and not things that you may want or desire, okay? You'll need to cut that out for a while and just focus on paying off the debt that you have. As mentioned in last week's video, I've also linked down my personal budget tracker down below in the description box just in case you need that to help you with your budgeting. Second of all, and this goes quite hand in hand with the first point, and that is you need to create a plan to pay off your credit card ASAP. Create a plan for paying off the full balance. That may be, a couple of months, 6 months, a year, whatever it may be, whatever's going to work for you. You just need to put that down on paper, okay? Know how you're going to tackle this debt and how you're going to pay off everything in full. As mentioned earlier, a budget tracker will definitely also help you with doing so. I also just want to add to this that the sooner that you're able to pay off your credit card balance, the less interest that you'll be paying. So therefore, you want to do this as soon as possible and do not delay. So since we're on the topic of repayments and paying off your credit card in full, this reminds me that a friend of mine, off of the back of last week's video about overdraft, she came to me and she asked me the question about, which should you pay off first, a credit card or overdraft? So which would you prioritize essentially if you had both going, okay? She asked me this question in relation to the fact that, once upon a time, she sort of struggled in this area and she wasn't sure which to pay off, whether her overdraft or her credit cards. And to be honest, my simple answer is whichever has the highest interest rates or, APRs, okay? So for example, if your overdraft has higher interest rates, then I definitely say you want to prioritize paying that off before you then focus on the credit cards if there's less interest to be paid on your credit cards. And last but not least, my final piece of advice when it comes to getting out of bad credit situations is to set up direct debits, okay? Direct debits are great because each and every month, without you having to think about it, money will be taken out of your account to pay off that credit card balance. And also that way you avoid situations whereby maybe you've gotten paid and then you've managed to go and spend all your money on everything else apart from clearing, your debt. That is what you do not want to be doing. If you know that you've got a direct debit set up to clear off your credit card balance, you'll know that you need to be tighter on your spending in other areas. Again, the idea of budgeting also comes into play. So hopefully with all of these 3 tips that I've shared with you, hopefully if you put these into practice, you'll be able to clear off your credit card balance and be able to put yourself in a better credit situation in the future. So guys, that brings me to the end of this week's video. I do hope you've enjoyed it and I hope you've learned something. More importantly, if you have any friends, family members, colleagues that you feel may benefit from this video, please do also share it with them. If you have any other questions or like me to clarify anything else, please do also let me know down in the comments and I will do so for you. Thank you for watching and I'll catch you next week. Bye.